neutral zone in 1 minute, Captain.
Stand by. Approaching neutral zone. I'm getting something on the distress channel.
May I remind the captain, the starship enters the zone. Now entering the neutral zone.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Neutral Zone. This is your pal, Josh Wagner, joined, as always, by John Ondo. John, how's it going?
It's great. Again, so much to talk about, and today we want to talk about one of your favorite captains.
Well, sure, and of course, we're making these episodes post Vegas, post 30 years of TNG, and so really a lot of great stuff. We're going to focus today on the big announcement that I loved. Picard's coming back. One of my favorite actors, one of my favorite characters.
Well, how shocked were you when you heard that news flash? Because I remember seeing that, thinking, oh, okay, Patrick Stewart showed up at the Star Trek convention, yada, yada, big deal. And then they were like, it's a series. I'm like, no way.
Well, I'll tell you, anytime I get to see Patrick Stewart, I'm all right. I like that guy a lot. I got to see him once, and I got to meet him in person once, and it was pretty neat. It was right in the middle of TNG's run, and it was probably about 13 years old, so... basically, it was pretty awesome. I love Patrick Stewart. I think he did great Professor X. I think he's great in Shakespeare. He did a great Christmas Carol. I just think he's a great actor and a great.
I loved him on Family Guy too. So it's all.
Yes, on Family Guy. Of course, his Twitter's hilarious. He's hilarious. I was excited to see him. Now, I will surprise you, John. I don't know how excited I am to see a Picard reboot.
Well, let's back up and explain what's going on in case you've been off all summer at a beach and haven't caught anything. They announced in Vegas that, and I think this is an outstanding idea, they're going to be bringing in some short series. I don't know how many constitutes a short, if it's going to be 1 or 2 episodes or if it's one short episode, but they're going to do these little short movies in addition to Discovery, which I think is a huge indication that CBS is backing this new franchise very well in the production team, and one of the ones they said is going to be based on Picard. And my impression was, Josh, unless you've heard anything different, it's post the Enterprise D. I don't know if he's retired, if he's doing the grapes in France, or what's going on.
Well, therein lies the problem, doesn't it? I mean, because here's why I'm nervous about it. Because one of my other beloved characters came back in this last year, and they destroyed him. It was awful. And even the actor himself did not like what happened to the character. And, of course, I'm referring to Luke Skywalker. I know this is not a Star Wars thing, but I love Luke Skywalker. I'm a Star Trek fan to the end.
Yeah.
I love Star Trek way more than I love Star Wars. But, growing up in the 80s, Luke Skywalker was like my hero, man.
So you didn't like him kind of getting old and grumpy and stuff?
No, because it's almost the dark side of the Force. I mean, it's really not, this is not a Star Wars chat, it's a Neutral Zone chat, but the point is that they took one of my beloved characters and made him a grumpy old man and kind of a curmudgeon, and I didn't like him in that movie, and I think if you watch Mark Hamill, in the interviews about that, he clearly didn't like what they did either. I wanted him to come back as a hero. And not as an anti-hero, and that's exactly what he was. He was an anti-hero, and I understand that's the big stuff, Breaking Bad and Sopranos in the last 15 years, anti-heroes are the thing, but they didn't do it right. They didn't do the anti-hero right. And the anti-hero, when you look at Walter White or you look at Tony Soprano or Scarface or these guys, you're rooting for these guys. You want them to win, even though they're bad guys.
Right.
Luke, you just was like, oh God, he's just insufferable. So herein lies my problem. This is why when I saw Patrick Stewart out on the stage, and I'm thinking, oh man, are they going to? And he even said, if you watch the clip, he says this is a different Picard. He's been through some things. He's got some changes, and like, oh man, what the heck does that mean? Does that mean he's going to be, he's not going to be the guy who believes in all the thing that made Picard great? And again, he's kind of an overgrown Boy Scout, to sort of steal the line from Star Trek 2.
Right.
Was that he had a heck of a lot of integrity. He did the right thing even when it stunk. And that's his character. Like, one of my favorite episodes is the one with Famke Janssen. I can't think of the name of it right now, even though it's one of my favorite episodes. But she's the one she's the ectomorph or whoever it is that can
the perfect spouse or wife.
Yeah,
or is that the perfect mate?
That's the perfect mate. That's what it's called. And she basically becomes Picard's perfect mate and even bonds with him. And at the end of the day, he lets her go because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And she goes because it's because she bonded with him and she has a sense of duty and honor.
So your fear,
his honor is way better than Worf's honor. I mean, Worf has kind of got this, kind of this archaic sense of honor, but Picard is this honorable guy and a scholar, and he's just all around. He's just a touch under a Mary Sue, because one of the things they did to him, of course, was they Borgified him, and that made him complex. But
that would be interesting if that's the angle he took. But your fear, Josh, is they're going to end up, putting him like in a bar in Dublin, Ireland, drunk, and it's like, I used to.
Yeah, screw Starfleet,
or
he's a pirate or something, or he's or it's like he's disenfranchised and he's. Well, I one angle that I heard is he might be like an ambassador of some kind, which I don't mind that so much. But
that could be interesting. This is where I'm at, and I know for whatever reason, and there's always this. Everybody has to be against everybody in this world anymore, Josh. I don't know why, but I really have a great deal of confidence in Alex Kurtzman and this team that's doing Discovery. And CBS has figured out that we can ride this horse. And the fact that they are bringing back Patrick Stewart, and I have to say, maybe it was makeup or whatever in the previous times, I thought he wasn't looking that good, but he looked great in Vegas. I thought this looks like a guy hasn't aged that much in 20 years.
Sure.
So I think these writers, first of all, you have to remember this is their Star Trek. My Star Trek was the original series. Next Generation, I liked it.
My Star Trek.
So these writers, this is their Star Trek. I don't think they would disrespect Picard or put him in a weird, different way. I think our natural thing is to go back to the I'm trying to remember the last episode of The Next Generation where he flashes back with Q and he becomes the grumpy old guy with the grapevines.
All good things.
All good things, yes. And he's like, Beverly. Is like, I don't think they're going to go there. Now, here's what I would love, and it's maybe too late. This is all I would implore. If anyone actually watches our podcast, and if anybody from the writing, makeup, production team out with Discovery or the team that's going to put this together, I implore you. What was the name of the episode? It was where they were tricking number one to think he was 16 years in the future,
right?
And Picard was an ambassador, and Picard had that cool kind of pirate goatee, and his hair was down. Put him in that. That looked awesome. He should have been in that all season. Give him the red coat and give him that look, because that was awesome. He looked like you just come in. That clean cut look was just a little too much. He needed a little bit more of a rugged look for me, and I love that. So that's my only request. But I'm excited. It'll be interesting. I have a great deal of respect for these writers, and I don't know who they're bringing in for this new set. But I really at this point I have no reason to fear. If it was George Lucas likes to screw around with stuff. So you're completely right. I don't like what he does sometimes with his stuff. But I think this will be a good show. We'll see what happens. I don't know when it's coming out. They didn't give us any details. I'm assuming at the rate they're going, it'll be sometime in 10 years.
Right. And who knows if it's going to be a short series or a long series. Like we're going to discuss this in another podcast of sort of the and that's something we're going to do maybe next. I don't know.
The golden era. This is the golden era. Yeah. I've never seen anything that we're going to discuss this, but the fact that we're going into things that have never been done before, and it's a complete reversal of what's been done between movies and television. We'll talk about that next. But so I'm excited for Patrick Stewart. I'm excited for Jonathan Frakes, who's directing episodes of Discovery and leaking information to everybody, which I think is awesome. So it's a great time. But yeah, I'll be signing up for the Discovery series. I just want to know, like everybody else, are these going to drop on the stupid CBS All Access app, which is not all access. It's horrible access.
I think it is. I think what I heard it is.
Yeah, I know they're still not on Discovery. I don't have enough money to move to another country at this point so I can get it on Netflix. So I just hey,
John, we could do Neutral Zone Chat from Argentina, and we can count it as a business expense.
That's the way to think. That's right. The American way.
That's the American way. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in the next episode of the Neutral Zone Chat. See you later.
Under the neutral zone in 1 minute.
Stand by. Approaching neutral zone. I'm getting something on the distress channel.
May I remind the captain Starship enters the zone. Now entering the neutral zone.